Listen, I'm going to get right to the point. I know someone who is a store brand snob. This person, their mind is closed. They will not try store brand. They will pay exuberant amount more of cash for things because of their fear of ever tasting something store brand. I can't believe it. But there are a lot of people out there just like that person. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money and More Jan channel. Isn't it a bit ridiculous to bypass the opportunity to save a ton of money by buying store brands sometimes? And there's a store brand that I purchased a whole bunch of instant decaf coffee a while back. I had put it in my stockpile, and soon I'm going to replenish it. Usually goes on sale again very soon, usually in the month of November, though. So I'm going to hold off till November. I still have plenty left until then. But when November rolls around, I'm going to stock up and replenish again. Because, by the way, for those that don't notice, but I bet you do notice it, the price of coffee is going through the roof. Yes, and I don't know. It could go higher. I don't know. I really don't know. But it seems like it's pointing in that direction. So why not be safer than sorry? But to my friend and others that refuse to ever try store brand, I have to say this, you guys are losing out. You guys are losing out on the opportunity to save some money. And these days, to be able to save some money and still enjoy a decent cup of coffee, I think is a great thing. So I said, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. So I took some of that instant decaf coffee, okay, and I poured it into an empty, famous national brand coffee jar that I had kept left over for such purposes, just in case there might be a coffee snob out there who will only try the famous, brand name. And that's what I did. So I made a pot of nice boiling water, and my friend prepared using the national brand famous container to make her own individual cup of instant coffee. So nothing like a good cup of coffee. She also, is flexible at least to enjoy instant. But I think if up to her own devices, I think probably she likes roasted, the traditional way of having coffee. But she'll cave into the instant, which is okay. But she will not cave into store brand instant. She has like an aversion. Meantime, back at the ranch, my friend did not know that the coffee that she was sipping with a smile on her face, saying, boy, oh boy, this, XYZ brand is so good. I said, yeah, it sure is. I love it myself and I get good prices on it. Yeah, how do you get a good price on this? So then I showed her my jar, the real jar of instant coffee. She's like, yeah, but we're talking about this jar. She's pointing at the national brand. So I said, you are drinking this. What? No, no, no. I took it from the national brand jar. Yeah, you took the jar that looks like the national brand, and it actually used to be in there, that product, the national brand that you're so used to. But I swapped it out. What? You did that to me? Yes, I did. Why'd you do that to me, Jan? I did that to you to expand your horizons. Now, did the earth stand still? No. Is the sun going to come up tomorrow? Yes. Is the moon going to come out tonight? Yes. And you had the audacity to drink store brand instant decaf coffee. What? I know it. I know that was kind of sort of a mean kind of trick, but not really. Now, if you have some, store brand snob friends, okay, and or slash you want it to look like you paid more for your coffee, you could always put that instant decaf into an empty jar of your favorite coffee, the national one. So don't throw it away. If it makes you feel better about it or your friend feel better about it, then go along with it. In my case, I wanted my friend to be able to expand her horizons. I felt all these years that she is, and if you're listening, hello, all these years that, could have, saved some money, a ton of money over time on at least sampling one time. That's the whole purpose not only of the experiment and the kind of sort of dirty trick that I pulled on my friend, but for all of us to be able to expand our taste horizons. We don't really know. Like some people, they're very, very well. Okay, let's talk about paper towel for a second. Now I know Steve and I, both collectively and also individually on our own channels, we did mention the fact about there's a certain paper towel company that you don't realize is going on. It's the same exact brand, and it comes from Procter and Gamble. This particular paper towel is the same, okay? So we're all familiar with the Bounty brand. For example, I'm just mentioning it. We're all familiar. We know it's a great product. It certainly is a great product. And then there is another name for it. I can't think of it off. Like, oh, okay. The other name for it that people wouldn't know, it's the same identical product coming from Procter& Gamble, and it's called Plenty. Isn't that funny? Bounty and Plenty. The Plenty is an offshoot of the Bounty. So many is the time that Plenty paper towel comes out to be a lot cheaper than Bounty. Okay, it is the same product, with the exception. According to what I read, that the Plenty is slightly thinner, but I've used both. I'm telling you, in my experience, okay, everybody's experience is different, but I'm telling you, my experience, it absorbs spills just like the original. So I had no problem with that. And at that time, I was able to get it a lot more cheaply. Hey, listen, if there are things in our lives that we could get the same result, okay, and arrive at getting there differently. Sometimes we'll just have to buy a non name brand. Sometimes we'll just have to cave in. We do not have to be a product snob. Now, okay, folks of my generation, for example, for the over 60 folks, okay, when we were growing up, there were only about 4 or 5, maybe 6 national brands of everything that we were all familiar with. And they're still around today and going as strong, if not stronger than ever. Great. There weren't really so many, for the best of my knowledge, there was not so many store brands or no name brands or no frill type brands. No, no, no. You had no choice in the matter but to hope and pray that your national brand, I'm talking about back in the old days in the 60s, okay? You had no choice in the matter but to pray and hope, okay, that the national brands would go on sale. That is not always going to be the case, okay? Now, for example, I have a family member that loves sandwich cookies. You know, like those, I think they call it duplex, Duplex. You could get them in a $1.25 store. And I'll tell you the truth, they dunk just as well and make just as good of cookie crumbs if you need it for an ice cream cake, for example, than the much more expensive national brand. Okay, there may be a slight difference in texture, but why should that slight difference in texture, I mean ever so slight difference in texture, why should that cost me a whole lot more money? I'm not saying I don't like the national brand one. Of course I do. Matter of fact, my dad used to work for that company many years ago before he became a post office worker. Before that, he was, a worker at that national biscuit company. Okay. So, I mean, I grew up knowing all the good stuff. Believe you me, I sure did. However, when it comes to certain things, we can nickel and dime it if we want. Why not? But it all adds up to saving. So now my friend is convinced to be a little more experimental with not necessarily nationally named brands. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of a fun, little bit of a trick. But if you like looking at the national brand packaging, like let's say an instant coffee jar, then so be it. Pour your much less expensive one into that jar. It'll make you just as happy. Sometimes it truly is mind over matter. Thank you so much for being here. I truly, truly, truly appreciate everybody's time. Don't forget to come back in the future every single day. What? At 5 a.m. for a brand new upload. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care of yourself and your wonderful family. Thank you.